Yeah, it's a tricky time for the U.S.-China relations now. We kind of had to wrap that discussion under the broader political situation here. It's difficult to call what's going to happen from here. But as I said, I don't think the ADR story is completely over, even though, yes, these Chinese ADRs are facing more regulatory challenges from both sides. But I think there's still hope. There's still hope for a reconciliation of the different rules. For example, the U.S. wants to inspect these accounting firms or audit firms. And China seems to be open for more economic financial cooperation. It was never China's intention to forbid all companies to go overseas listing. But now we just need a dual process. And recently, China announced some rules on which companies or which sectors can be listed overseas, that type of things. So on China's side, I think there's still some hope for more collaboration. I won't say, the ADR story is completely over. And that's also reflected in the numbers. Today there are about 238 Chinese ADRs listed today. 18 of them have dual listing or secondary listing in Hong Kong. And there's another 79 of these companies are eligible for immediate listing in Hong Kong. But not all of them are doing it. Like Pinduoduo, they are eligible for listing in Hong Kong, but I don't think they have announced any plans because they recognize that there might be still some hope for reconciliation, perhaps. And there's also some advantages for a Chinese company to have a U.S. or global listing, especially if the company wants to be a global player.
Chuang, I don't know the answer to this, so help me out if you could. We've been talking about this whole issue of the CSRC and regulation over offshore Chinese IPOs or Chinese companies listing abroad, and the whole issue, of course, of controversial issue of VIEs. For Chinese companies deciding to list in Hong Kong instead or at first, et cetera, does that become an issue at all?
Well, depending on the company structure, like you said, VIE Hong Kong Stock Exchange recently also announced some rule changes to allow easier listing of these companies, the VIE structure being or else in Hong Kong. I think that from the China standpoint, it's not so much the VIE, is really what specific business you're operating, whether it's the VIE or red chip or H shares, et cetera. It's really come down to the specific business and the specific sectors. If you look at the ruling that just came out yesterday or a couple of days ago, it's really about these, national strategic or sensitive sectors that China would not allow foreign investment in the first place without a proper approval. So that's the key issue. It's not really the VIE structure now, it's really the specific businesses that these companies in. For example, real estate, theoretically, real estate should not have foreign ownership in China. But a lot of the companies are bypassing this through the VIE structure. So now China is putting in more regulation to explicitly preventing the real estate businesses to go, let's say, overseas listing.